Decades ago, a sudden mutation triggered a global invasion of vicious ghosts, plunging humanity into a perilous and supernatural mythical era. To combat this darkness, survivors began awakening specialized professions and mastering divine skills to bolster their individual combat strength. As these warriors advance their ranks, they form powerful alliances, combining magic and steel to push back the encroaching shadow monsters. The awakened ones engage in a climactic struggle against monstrous beasts, fighting to reclaim a safe haven for all mankind. In the dawn of the mythical era, legendary warriors stand victorious over fallen beasts, proving that only the awakened can survive this age. At Heicheng High School, the atmosphere grows tense as faculty members announce the start of the highly anticipated awakening ceremony. Gathered around a shimmering golden ritual circle, students wait anxiously while officials declare that this moment marks their transition into powerful professionals. Instructor Liu, who shouts a powerful reminder that their performance today will irrevocably shape the course of their future destinies. An official expresses hope that every student achieves their dream profession while the crowd watches the unfolding ceremony with great anticipation. Freshman Fang Zhu reflects on his long journey since transmigrating, realizing that his pivotal moment for awakening has finally arrived. The instructor calls his name and requests that he step forward, prompting an immediate and firm verbal confirmation from the student. Following this command, Fang Zhu begins his walk toward the ritual circle, determined to fulfill the destiny he has awaited for years. Female students speculate about Fang Zhu's future profession, suggesting that his handsome appearance makes him a perfect candidate for the priest class. A group of jealous peers dismisses his looks, arguing that only a powerful awakened profession truly defines a person's worth. The instructor reviews Fang Zhu's impressive file, noting his status as a martyr's orphan with exceptional academic and physical test scores. The teacher acknowledges that the student's background and potential naturally draw the focused attention of everyone present at the ceremony. Fang Zhu steps up to the altar and places his hand upon the glowing device to initiate his professional awakening process. As the device activates, his eyes gleam with intensity, reflecting the immense power beginning to stir deep within his soul. A massive pillar of light erupts toward the sky, shocking the onlookers who marvel at such a heaven-defying energetic reaction. Amidst this brilliance, dark green wisps of energy manifest around his hand, signaling the birth of a rare and mysterious profession. A violent surge of dark energy ruptures the sky and crashes onto the school grounds, signaling that a legendary celestial phenomenon has occurred. Buffeted by the shockwave, Instructor Liu, who marvels at the overwhelming power and questions the true nature of Fang Zhu's incredible hidden profession. A spectral portal opens to unleash a terrifying legion of undead soldiers and skeletal knights onto the physical plane. Standing at the center of this ghostly army, Fang Zhu calmly presides over a host of powerful Lich Kings and ancient spectral warriors. Fang Zhu raises his arm as the ritual reaches its peak, surrounding him with a dense vortex of dark, swirling energy. A holographic interface materializes, officially confirming that he has successfully awakened as a powerful and rare necromancer. While observing the dark spirits manifesting around him, Fang Zhu questions the nature of this mysterious path he is now destined to follow. His peers burst into mocking laughter, finding the idea of a corpse-controlling profession absurdly weak despite the dramatic display. The crowd laughs at Fang Zhu, claiming that despite the dramatic spectacle, the necromancer class remains the weakest among all combat professions. Critics highlight a fatal flaw in the profession, noting that humans cannot easily bridge the gap to the mysterious undead realm. Because life and death are inherently opposed, most necromancers struggle to manifest their powers effectively in the world of the living. Fang Zhu remains undeterred as he examines his new status screen, confident that his unique journey will defy these traditional limitations. A powerful surge of energy shatters the air as a notification informs Fang Zhu that he has unlocked the Undead Realm experience system. Observing the glowing orb, the student realizes that his long-awaited secret advantage has finally manifested after 18 years of patient waiting. The system interface reveals a direct connection to the Undead Realm, allowing him to control a skeleton clone and devour enemies. Fang Zhu acknowledges that this tailor-made ability perfectly complements his necromancy, granting him the power to dominate both the living and dead. Fang Zhu smiles confidently and executes a powerful summon, calling upon his mysterious system for the very first time. A towering skeleton warrior with glowing blue eyes emerges, serving as his personal avatar within the dangerous undead realm. The system explains that he can possess this clone to devour other creatures and permanently enhance his own statistics. The young necromancer realizes he can amass an infinite army by summoning every monster his skeletal clone defeats in battle. The necromancer surveys the desolate undead realm beneath a crimson moon, declaring it his future hunting ground for gathering strength. Deciding to postpone his exploration, he commands the system to manifest his powerful skeletal clone within the physical world. The interface acknowledges the request and instantly initiates the complex summoning sequence for the monstrous warrior. A vibrant green mystical array illuminates the area, marking the arrival of his otherworldly servant into the physical reality. The skeleton clone materializes within a glowing green ritual circle, standing as Fang Zhu's most formidable summoned ally in the real world. Despite this impressive display, the instructor expresses regret over Fang Zhu's profession before calling the next student, Bai Xiaochen, to step forward. A group of classmates approaches Fang Zhu to offer words of encouragement and praise the impressive, intimidating appearance of his skeleton. They reassure him that he can still achieve greatness as a necromancer, while admiring the unique and cool aesthetic of his summon. Fang Zhu's rivals express deep frustration that he still attracts attention despite awakening a profession they consider far inferior to their own. The jealous student recalls that novice necromancers have limited summons and decides to sabotage Fang Zhu by destroying his single protector. To carry out this malicious plan, the antagonist secretly readies a lethal silent sleeve arrow while remaining hidden within the bustling crowd. He releases the hidden projectile with a sharp flick of his wrist, aiming to strike the skeleton and derail his rival's progress. The antagonist releases his hidden arrow and mentally commands the target to perish as the projectile flies toward the skeleton. The skeleton vanishes into a cloud of dark smoke, causing the lethal projectile to pass harmlessly through the empty air. The blonde attacker cries out in utter disbelief upon realizing that his planned ambush has completely failed to find its mark. The massive skeleton warrior reappears directly behind the terrified student, looming over him with a cold and menacing presence. The skeleton warrior strikes the attacker's face with a brutal blow, sending him reeling as the surrounding crowd watches in complete shock. Following this strike, the spectral knight slams the student into the ground with overwhelming force, instantly crushing his malicious attempt at sabotage. While pinned to the grass, the assailant expresses total disbelief at being easily defeated by a supposedly weak necromancer's summoned servant. The defeated rival trembles on all fours as the massive skeleton looms over him to conclude their brief, one-sided confrontation. The fallen student glares up from the dirt and demands an explanation for Fang Zhu's sudden and violent use of force. He expresses total disbelief that the skeletal summon could react so quickly to an invisible strike launched from a blind spot. Despite his injuries, he reasons that a necromancer remains physically vulnerable and decides to launch a direct assault on the main body. The antagonist springs into action, charging toward Fang Zhu with the intent of reclaiming his lost honor through a physical confrontation. The rival lunges through the air with a glowing energy blade, screaming a lethal threat as he attempts to strike Fang Zhu. Fang Zhu remains perfectly calm and catches the incoming blade with his bare hand, neutralizing the desperate sneak attack effortlessly. The necromancer counterattacks with a green energy punch that sends his attacker flying backward in sudden, excruciating pain. Fang Zhu mocks his opponent's arrogance and warns him about the foolishness of overestimating his meager capabilities in this confrontation. Fang Zhu lunges forward and delivers a crushing, energy-infused punch directly into his opponent's face, ending the battle instantly. The force of the impact sends the rival flying through the air as a spray of blood trails behind him. The attacker crashes violently into the turf, leaving the gathered students gasping in absolute silence at the display. The defeated student lies motionless on the ground, his body broken and bloody after failing to overcome the powerful necromancer. Declaring the situation boring, Fang Zhu dismisses the conflict and begins to walk away from the arena accompanied by his massive skeleton summon. The instructor and nearby students discuss how Lu Renjia's cowardly sneak attack resulted in an immediate defeat from a single, powerful punch. Concerned classmates assist the injured student to his feet while he weakly mutters his rival's name through a haze of pain and humiliation. Despite his overwhelming loss, the bloodied warrior bellows a furious vow of vengeance, promising that their conflict is far from being truly over. Fang Zhu locates a secluded area within the school to ensure that he can access his unique powers without any outside disturbance. Once isolated, he summons the system interface and initiates the process to enter the Undead realm for a vital combat experience. He contemplates the benefits of absorbing the strength of fallen spectral beings to accelerate his growth as a master necromancer. Although he is determined to succeed, He wonders silently if his upcoming venture into this dark world will proceed as smoothly as planned. Fang Zhu acknowledges the extreme dangers of the undead realm and commands his system to begin the perilous experience immediately. Following this command, the mystical interface confirms the request and asks the user to wait while the necessary preparations are finalized. The Necromancer reflects on his 18-year wait and expresses his unwavering determination to utilize this rare opportunity to gain strength. The system issues a final warning regarding the unknown risks and prompts the host to confirm the start of his journey. Fang Zhu selects the confirmation option on the glowing system interface to begin his perilous journey into the unknown. A surge of emerald energy envelops his body as the teleportation ritual successfully transports him away from the school. Following this transition, the scenery shifts to a desolate landscape of jagged rocks and skeletal remains beneath a cursed, crimson sky. The young necromancer awakens within the undead realm, possessing his powerful skeletal clone while surveying the grim terrain before him. Fang Zhu examines his clone's meager apprentice stats and notices the unique innate skill known as skeletal armament. While analyzing this newfound power, he realizes that skeletal armament allows him to manipulate bones to forge specialized equipment. He recalls that this specific ability was exactly what the clone utilized during its previous manifestation in the real world. To ensure his safety, he decides to forge a weapon immediately before a looming monstrous silhouette can launch a surprise attack. A vicious, multi-headed wolf snarls from the darkness, lunging forward to initiate a sudden and brutal assault on the skeletal intruder. The skeleton warrior is caught off guard as the monstrous predators leap through the air with bared fangs and glowing eyes. Following this impact, the sheer force of the pounce flips the warrior onto the ground, momentarily disrupting its intended defensive stance. The skeleton regains its footing and acknowledges that the undead realm is indeed teeming with immediate, lethal, and hidden threats. The skeleton warrior's foot becomes dangerously snagged in the rocky terrain, leaving him vulnerable as he realizes the imminent danger. Seizing this opportunity, the multi-headed wolf bites down on his shoulder, while he struggles to free his trapped limb from the debris. The warrior recovers his footing and prepares a devastating counter-strike to punish the beast for its aggressive assault. He activates a special ability to summon a second skeletal ally, catching the predator off guard with a sudden numerical advantage. The skeleton warrior delivers a powerful kick to the multi-headed wolf's skull, yet the impact fails to inflict any significant or lasting damage. The protagonist observes with growing concern that his physical strike had absolutely no effect on the beast as it readies another assault. He struggles to coordinate the stiff movements of his skeletal clone while dodging the relentless and coordinated attacks of the snarling monster. The warrior discovers a large pile of ancient remains nearby and decides to use them to strengthen his defenses against the predator. The multi-headed wolf lunges forward with glowing red eyes, forcing the skeleton warrior to brace for an immediate and deadly physical confrontation. The warrior activates his skeletal armament skill to gather nearby bones and forge a massive, glowing blue scythe for combat. The skeleton swings the newly formed blade with lethal intent, commanding the monstrous predator to meet its end under his power. The sharp edge of the scythe strikes the beast across its heads, causing the creature to howl in sudden and agonizing pain. The multi-headed beast bites down on the skeleton's arm, causing a sudden and severe injury during their intense struggle for dominance. Fang Zhu staggers in the physical world as the phantom pain and damage manifest directly upon his vulnerable human body. Recognizing the system's lethal nature, the necromancer notes that any wounds sustained within the spectral realm are mirrored in reality. Despite the danger, he remains undeterred and decides to finish the confrontation, observing that the creature's head is already defeated. The skeleton's eyes flare with intense blue light as he channels necrotic energy to prepare for a final, decisive strike against his foe. While grappling with the massive beast, the warrior proclaims his absolute dominion over the forces of death to demoralize the snarling monster. Following this declaration, he activates his skeletal armament ability, weaving jagged bone chains together to form a versatile and lethal long-range weapon. The necromancer swings the bone flail with crushing force, tearing through the creature's hide and ending the encounter in a bloody spray. The skeleton warrior delivers a final, violent strike that pierces the monster, sending a spray of blood across the dark, rocky landscape. Following this decisive blow, blue spectral energy flares from the warrior's eyes as he stands triumphantly over his fallen, multi-headed foe. The silence of the desolate undead realm returns as the defeated predator lies motionless upon the jagged and blood-stained ground. The necromancer reflects on the remarkable utility of the skeletal armament skill, praising the immense power granted by his mysterious system. After defeating the beast, Fang Zhu notices a shimmering blue flame rising from its corpse and wonders about its mysterious and supernatural origin. A primal and overwhelming sensation of hunger consumes his thoughts as he stares intently at the ethereal light pulsating before him. In response to this instinct, the system commands him to devour the essence to gain power and trigger a permanent professional evolution. The skeleton absorbs the crackling blue energy, allowing the surging power to flow through his bones and initiate a terrifying transformation. The skeleton consumes the brilliant blue essence, causing a surge of spiritual energy to circulate through its ancient, sun-bleached bones. Following this act, a green notification confirms a successful attribute upgrade, signaling a permanent increase in the warrior's core combat statistics. The system manifests a soul power point while the necromancer questions the specific functions of this newly acquired spiritual resource. The interface explains that soul power facilitates skill deduction, potential growth, and the magical enhancement of the host's existing equipment. Fang Zhu realizes the true potential of his new system while his skeletal avatar prepares to embark on a dark journey. The path ahead requires exploring dangerous realms and slaughtering monstrous beasts to devour their essence for rapid professional evolution. The necromancer embraces his dual identity, vowing to maintain a relentless hunting pace to fuel his unprecedented and supernatural growth. He surveys the desolate wasteland beneath a crimson moon, confident that his power will continue to expand infinitely through constant combat. The protagonist notices a lone, hooded skeleton wandering nearby and recognizes it as a common apprentice-level undead creature. Because these common skeletons lack intelligence and possess frail bodies, the necromancer identifies their flickering soul fire as a primary vulnerability. The warrior activates his skeletal armament skill and successfully forges a powerful bone spear to prepare for the coming engagement. He lunges forward with incredible speed, striking down the enemy to gain immediate increases in both his agility and soul power. As Fang Zhu devours soul essence, his constitution and spiritual energy rise, fueling his growing obsession with gaining absolute combat power. Consequently, he marvels at the raw potential flowing through his reinforced skeletal body while preparing to face even more formidable undead enemies. Standing over a mountain of defeated foes, he reviews his upgraded attributes but remains unsatisfied, declaring his intent to grow even stronger. The perspective returns to Heicheng High School, where the mundane world remains blissfully unaware of the monstrous strength he is amassing. Still lost in his ambitions for power, Fang Zhu is suddenly interrupted when his classmate, Bai Xiaochen, calls out to him. He snaps out of his intense trance and turns to face her, his eyes still reflecting his dark, lingering focus. While noticing the fresh blood dripping from his hand, the girl questions his presence and expresses immediate concern for his well-being. She mistakenly suggests that he is hurting himself due to his disappointment over awakening a supposedly weak and lonely necromancer profession. Fang Zhu realizes that Bai Xiaochen has completely misunderstood his situation and resolves to find a more secluded location for future explorations. The young man assures his concerned classmate that his injury is merely a careless scratch despite her lingering and obvious skepticism. The school bell chimes to announce the start of their next session, prompting the pair to conclude their brief, private conversation. Bai Xiaochen urges him to hurry toward meditation class, and they walk through the corridors together to resume their scheduled daily studies. Fang Zhu suddenly coughs into his hand, causing Bai Xiaochen to insist on taking him to the school infirmary for medical attention. Despite her concern, he claims to be fine while the system warns him about the heavy physical toll of his recent journey. A sudden realization strikes him as he notices his core attributes have significantly improved during his brief time in the undead realm. He ignores her repeated inquiries to focus on his new power level, leaving her standing there in a state of confusion. Fang Zhu examines the mysterious deducible skill on his status screen, contemplating the rare possibility of creating his own customized combat techniques. He envisions reaching the same legendary heights as top-tier awakened ones by developing a set of unique and highly specialized professional skills. The focus returns to the Heicheng High School teaching building as students settle back into their daily academic and physical routines. The instructor calls the class to order, prompting the students to listen closely as she delivers an important announcement regarding their training. Shen Hongyu, a silver-rank fire mage, introduces herself as the meditation class instructor and begins the day's specialized training session. Following her introduction, she instructs the students to utilize basic meditation techniques to reveal the unique professional abilities they recently awakened. She explains that consistent meditation increases their spirit power, providing the essential foundation required to manifest more advanced professional skills. The teacher encourages patience by sharing her own difficult learning experiences while Fang Zhu listens silently from his desk. Fang Zhu notices a system prompt offering to deduce a skeleton meditation skill for him to learn immediately. Without hesitation, he selects the affirmative option on the glowing interface to initiate the rapid learning process for this new ability. Swirling green symbols and intense spiritual energy envelop him as the system forcefully integrates the knowledge into his mind. Fang Zhu completes the integration, manifesting a dual aura of life and death that signifies his mastery over the technique. After mastering the technique, Fang Zhu marvels at how quickly the system integrated the skeleton meditation method into his growing mental arsenal. He analyzes the apprentice-level ability and determines that his visualization of the skeleton clone simplifies the entire meditation process significantly. He realizes that his skeletal avatar will undergo automatic training whenever it is not actively engaged in the dangerous undead realm. Fang Zhu concludes that he is cultivating 24 hours a day, solidifying his unique status as the innate necromancer holy body. Fang Zhu sees a notification stating his spirit ability increased, allowing him to return to the dangerous undead realm experience. He closes his eyes and commands the system to initiate the teleportation sequence for another session of spectral combat. The skeletal clone's eyes glow with blue light as he identifies a new target within the desolate wasteland. The warrior delivers a lethal blue energy strike to a wandering skeleton, instantly gaining more constitution and soul power. The skeleton warrior prepares to hunt to his heart's content within the desolate and shadowy expanse of the undead realm. The system detects that a clone skill has reached full proficiency, offering to deduce a new ability for 10 soul power points. Following this discovery, the necromancer realizes that the skill deduction process must be completed while he is actively exploring the perilous undead realm. The warrior clasps his skeletal hands together and commands the system to immediately initiate the complex and powerful deduction process. The system analyzes gathered spiritual data to manifest a new ability as an emerald aura envelops the calculating interface. Following this successful deduction, a notification confirms that the warrior has officially unlocked the powerful apprentice-level skill known as Bone Javelin. The necromancer observes that this magical ability perfectly matches the physical weapons he previously forged for his skeletal clone during combat. He marvels at the expansive derivative skill tree, realizing he now has access to defensive shields and inescapable bone prisons. The necromancer observes the fleeing spectral enemies and determines that he must accumulate significantly more soul power to continue his professional progression. Following this observation, he summons a glowing blue bone javelin and launches it with lethal precision toward another group of unsuspecting monsters. The weapon crackles with intense necrotic energy as it streaks through the dark air, illuminating the desolate landscape of the undead realm. The warrior acknowledges the superior strength of this new ability compared to standard apprentice-level skills like death missiles or rays of enfeeblement. Fang Zhu notices the soul power rewards from weak skeletons are decreasing, realizing he must find more challenging enemies to continue his growth. He reviews his updated attributes and understands that the system is forcing him to venture into the more perilous regions of the realm. Determined to maximize his gains, the warrior resolves to hunt down every remaining low-level creature before their essence becomes completely useless to him. Fang Zhu's inner amusement causes him to chuckle aloud in class, prompting a confused and inquisitive look from his meditation teacher. Shen Hongyu scolds Fang Zhu for giggling while his classmates are working hard, causing him to stumble over his words in embarrassment. Seizing the opportunity, Lu Renjia loudly mocks him by claiming that Fang Zhu's failure to meditate stems from his weak and unconventional profession. The teacher explains that necromancers often struggle because their meditation methods are famously incomplete and notoriously difficult for students to master. Despite the public criticism, Fang Zhu remains silent and hides the secret that his unique system has already granted him perfect mastery. Teacher Shen scolds Fang Zhu for idling, warning him that his lack of effort is wasting the time of the entire class. Lu Renjia demonstrates his progress by manifesting a flaming dagger handle, earning praise from the instructor for his diligent cultivation speed. In response to this success, the arrogant student taunts Fang Zhu, insisting that he recognize the massive power gap between their respective professions. Unfazed by the display, Fang Zhu smiles and describes the feat as remarkably average, leaving his rival and the teacher completely stunned. Lu Renjia ridicules Fang Zhu's skills, asserting that a weak necromancer has no right to brag while failing to achieve basic meditation. Fang Zhu unleashes a massive, terrifying emerald aura that forces his shocked rival to retreat in a state of pure panic. Instructor Shen commands the class to remain calm and orders Lu Renjia to refocus his mind amidst the sudden and violent disruption. The teacher scolds Fang Zhu for brawling, but he calmly explains that he only intended to clear his immediate personal space. Fang Zhu smiles and informs the teacher that he is prepared to demonstrate his current level of meditation progress to the entire class. His classmates express vocal skepticism, doubting that a necromancer could have completed more than a small fraction of the entry stage. The young student activates the skeleton meditation method, causing wisps of dark, ghostly energy to swirl intensely around his physical body. A massive pillar of shadows erupts across the classroom, shocking the gathered students with the incredible and unexpected scale of his power. The entire class stares in disbelief as the students witness the unprecedented speed of Fang Zhu's sudden professional advancement. Teacher Shen wonders how he mastered the complex skeleton meditation method within the duration of a single training class. Because of this breakthrough, Fang Zhu notes that his growth rate vastly exceeds the capabilities of even the most talented world-class geniuses. Instructor Lu, who expresses his genuine astonishment, praising the student for achieving such a significant milestone in record-breaking time. Instructor Lu, who announces a combat test for the following day, catching Fang Zhu and the rest of the students off guard. The classroom erupts in a frenzy of whispers as students express their disbelief over the sudden acceleration of their training schedule. Seizing this moment, Lu Renjia mocks his rival and suggests that real combat will expose the supposed weakness of a necromancer's path. Fang Zhu returns his focus to the Undead realm, where his powerful skeletal avatar stands ready to conquer the next level. Fang Zhu's skeletal avatar steps heavily onto the scorched earth, ready to continue his brutal training within the dangerous Undead realm. Because he recently reached a new meditation milestone, his physical endurance has significantly improved, allowing him to remain in this realm longer. The warrior grips his skull-adorned spear and resolves to eliminate more enemies before his finite spirit power is eventually depleted. He lunges forward with overwhelming speed and demands more victims, swinging his blue-tinged blade to slaughter another wave of spectral foes. The skeletal warrior lunges forward and demands more enemies to slaughter while unleashing a powerful blast that echoes across the rocky plains. Amidst the rising clouds of dust and debris, the protagonist realizes his insatiable bloodlust and declares his intent to kill even more. Following this brutal display of power, the warrior pauses to catch his breath as the physical toll of the intense combat begins showing. He surveys the massive field of fallen corpses and acknowledges that his daily supply of spiritual energy is now nearly depleted. A system notification announces that the protagonist's professional level has increased, confirming that his recent combat efforts were not in vain. He taps the confirmation button to initiate a strengthening process for his loyal skeleton clone avatar within the Undead realm. Immediately following this selection, a surge of emerald energy envelops the warrior as the interface displays a progress bar for the upgrade. The transformation concludes with the clone's eyes erupting in brilliant blue light, signifying its transition into a far more powerful state. Upon reaching the apprentice middle rank, the skeleton clone gains enhanced attributes and automatically learns the devastating brutal strike skill. This newly acquired ability allows for an instantaneous burst of immense strength, with power scaling directly from the user's physical attributes. Fang Zhu expresses great satisfaction, realizing that this enhancement will enable him to eliminate undead creatures with significantly greater efficiency. A sudden surge of power causes the skeletal avatar to recoil in pain as it adjusts to the rapid evolution. The skeletal avatar collapses in the undead realm because its master overextended his spirit power while being too focused on his new skills. The scene shifts back to the sunny Heicheng High School sports field where students gather for their weekly outdoor training sessions. Fang Zhu clutches his throbbing head on the bleachers, suffering from a severe migraine caused by his dangerously low spirit energy levels. Bai Xiaoshan questions his sickly appearance, forcing him to fabricate excuses while secretly vowing to practice his forbidden necromancy in private. On the sports field, classmates openly disparage the necromancer profession while emphasizing that true strength remains the only measure of success. Defending her friend, Bai Xiaoshan confronts Lu Renjia about his constant bullying, but the arrogant student insists his insults are merely facts. Fang Zhu intervenes by asking if his rival desires another defeat, prompting a furious retort regarding his recent combat improvements. Lu Renjia brandishes a flaming dagger and boasts that his new professional skill will allow him to win in one move. Teacher Lu suddenly intervenes to halt the heated confrontation between the students, asserting his authority over the training grounds. The instructor scolds them for fighting amongst themselves and reminds the group that their purpose is to combat ghosts. He encourages Fang Zhu to translate his impressive meditation success into combat excellence while the student confirms his dedication. Fang Zhu watches the instructor walk away and silently realizes that the teacher is intentionally looking out for his well-being. Teacher Lu commands all students to assemble on the sports field as they prepare for a specialized combat testing session. After they gather, he directs his assistants to bring forward the necessary equipment to evaluate their professional growth and abilities. The students watch with intense curiosity as a large, mechanical object on a wheeled cart is positioned before the group. The instructor introduces an apprentice-level test golem capable of accurately measuring their combat effectiveness through advanced attack and defense simulations. The instructor presents a specialized test golem modeled after an imp, designed to withstand standard apprentice-level attacks during the upcoming trial. A skeptical student examines the machine and openly questions whether the device is sturdy enough to survive their offensive maneuvers. Instructor Lu, who strikes the golem and confidently asserts that no freshman has ever successfully dismantled such a durable training unit. The teacher offers a reward of 20 Alliance contribution points to motivate any student capable of destroying the mechanical target today. Fang Zhu contemplates the importance of contribution points, noting that they serve as the primary currency for acquiring powerful items and skills. Students eagerly volunteer for the assessment, while the instructor directs those with common professions to form an orderly line. A young mage steps forward and weaves his fingers together to manifest a flickering aura of intense, magical flame. The student launches a concentrated fireball that explodes against the golem, marking the official beginning of the combat evaluation. After a student receives a low attack score of 48, Teacher Lu suggests that he needs significantly more practice to improve. A swordsman executes a crippling strike against the golem, earning a score of 41 as the instructor records the data. A skilled archer releases a petrifying arrow that impacts the target with enough force to achieve a higher score of 50. Once all common professions conclude their evaluations, the instructor calls for the remaining special professions to approach the stage in an orderly fashion. Frustrated students with common professions lament their low scores, realizing that the instructor's generous reward remains far beyond their current reach. Fang Zhu quietly analyzes his strategy, questioning whether the golem will measure his strength and his skeletal summons as a single unit. Observing this hesitation, Lu Renjia mocks his rival's perceived weakness, assuming that the necromancer is simply too afraid to begin the test. The arrogant rival lunges toward the golem, vowing to demonstrate the massive power gap with his newly mastered professional combat skill. Lu Renjia strikes the test golem with his phantom dagger skill, achieving a high attack capability score of 80. Following this impressive display, he boasts about his hidden profession until onlookers remind him that other elite students also possess rare abilities. The instructor calls Yifan forward, prompting the young man to confirm his readiness as he approaches the testing area. The crowd gossips about Yifan's prestigious demon hunter profession while eagerly anticipating the results of his upcoming attack power evaluation. Yifan summons a glowing green crescent blade, surrounding himself with crackling energy as he prepares for his turn at the golem. Following this preparation, he grips the massive weapon with a focused gaze and readies his most powerful combat technique against the target. He executes a devastating vengeance strike that impacts the test machine with a violent burst of brilliant green light and force. The display only reveals a score of 65, leading the unimpressed crowd to whisper about his unexpectedly average performance today. Yifan's eyes glow with emerald intensity as he refuses to accept his initial score and prepares for a much stronger follow-up attack. Following this resolve, he unleashes a powerful vengeance combo that rapidly drives his attack capability score upward to a total of 69 points. As his strikes gain momentum, the test golem registers the escalating force, flashing a significantly higher score of 88 on the digital display. Yifan reaches his peak output and achieves a perfect score of 100, stunning the onlookers with his true combat potential. The instructor announces Yifan's perfect attack score of 100 as the student stands proudly after his impressive display of skill. Following this announcement, Fang Zhu observes the cumulative nature of the scoring and concludes that destroying the golem is an achievable goal for him. The onlookers realize that the current demonstration has set an incredibly high standard for the remaining students in the combat class. Yifan gazes over the field with absolute confidence, believing that no other peer possesses the strength required to surpass his record. Bai Xiaoshan watches the previous student with intense jealousy, noting how he manipulated the scoring system to achieve a higher total. Following this observation, the instructor calls Bai Xiaoshan forward, prompting her to give a quick, nervous verbal confirmation as she approaches. While taking a deep breath of energy, she reminds herself of her hidden professional status to avoid any potential public embarrassment. She lunges toward the target while a violent emerald vortex of wind and leaves erupts around her rapidly moving body. Bai Xiaoshan receives an attack score of 31 from the instructor, realizing her support profession lacks the offensive power she desired. Lu Renjia mocks her low results before the instructor calls Gu Jikyu forward to demonstrate his own magical capabilities. Gu Jikyu subsequently unleashes a barrage of wind energy missiles, earning an impressive score of 72 for his high-speed magical offensive. Zhao Yuan executes a powerful shield charge against the golem, concluding his turn with a solid attack value of 69. The heavy hammer warrior Chen Yang executes a massive overhead smash, recording a high score of 84 points on the golem's sensor. The observing students note that despite these strong performances, no one has yet reached the perfect score needed to claim the prize. All eyes turn toward Fang Zhu as the final candidate with a hidden profession begins his approach to the testing area. Lu Renjia loudly dismisses his rival's capabilities, speculating that a mere necromancer is unlikely to produce any significant results during the test. Lu Renjia laughs arrogantly at Fang Zhu and mockingly questions his ability to earn the 20 contribution points offered by the teacher today. The blonde student mockingly promises to eat the mechanical test golem if the supposedly weak necromancer actually manages to destroy it. Fang Zhu accepts the ridiculous challenge with a confident smile, reminding his arrogant rival that he must stand by his bold words. The necromancer approaches the target and requests that the surrounding students step back to ensure their safety during his powerful and imminent attack. Lu Renjia taunts Fang Zhu about a potential failure, yet the necromancer remains unfazed and warns that his next move requires significant space. Following this warning, Fang Zhu channels dark energy as spectral chains manifest, preparing to unleash a powerful and wide-reaching professional ability. A legion of skeletons with glowing blue eyes rises from the shadows, clanking loudly as they form a formidable army behind their master. The shocked onlookers marvel at the massive summon, questioning how a mere apprentice could have already achieved such a legendary rank. Teacher Lu, who watches in disbelief, realizing that Fang Zhu's summoning capacity far surpasses the historical record set by a legendary necromancer. The onlookers speculate whether Fang Zhu's talent is actually superior to historical geniuses while the young man prepares for the final evaluation. Fang Zhu secretly admits to holding back his true power to avoid drawing unnecessary attention from the high school faculty and peers. The necromancer commands his skeletal army to charge, causing his minions to sprint forward and strike the test golem with overwhelming force. Lu Renjia watches in disbelief as the summoned skeletons charge forward with incredible speed toward the mechanical test golem. Following this rapid movement, the skeletal army swarms the target and delivers a series of precise, bone-crushing blows to its metallic chassis. The machine's digital display rapidly ascends through various scores, eventually settling on a final combined attack value of 65 points. While some students find the score impressive, others criticize the necromancer's overall efficiency despite the dramatic commotion caused by his summons. Lu Renjia laughs mockingly at the 65-point score, claiming that a single skeleton is far too weak to be effective in battle. Fang Zhu calmly dismisses the insults and explains that his previous display was merely the beginning of his true performance. Following this remark, he snaps his fingers to double his forces, summoning 20 skeletons simultaneously while a vibrant green aura radiates around him. The stunned crowd realizes he was holding back, while Bai Xiaoshan smiles with pride at his unprecedented display of necromantic power. A skeleton's fist slams into the test golem's display screen, causing the digital reading to flicker as the machine absorbs the impact. Following this first blow, additional skeletons swarm the mechanical target, delivering a barrage of strikes that pushes the score to 97. Blue electricity crackles across the golem's frame as the relentless assault continues, forcing the score past the 100-point milestone. A massive explosion erupts upon the stage as the golem finally malfunctions, registering a maxed-out score of 999. Smoke and dust billow across the field following the massive explosion, leaving the gathered audience in a state of stunned, heavy silence. Shocked students point toward the wreckage and express their disbelief that a newly awakened individual could completely shatter the golem's structural limits. Lu Renjia gazes down at the maxed-out digital display in total paralysis, struggling to process that the numerical limit was actually exceeded. The panicked rival breaks into a cold sweat and shouts in desperation, unable to comprehend how such an impossible feat occurred. After shattering the machine, the necromancer retrieves the severed head of the golem and presents it to his stunned rival. He mockingly invites the trembling student to fulfill his previous boast by consuming the wreckage right here on the spot. Lu Renjia stutters in absolute terror as his opponent offers him a cold alternative to his earlier, foolish promise. With his eyes glowing menacingly, Fang Zhu commands the defeated bully to vanish from his sight and never return. While Lu Renjia flees with a parting threat, Bai Xiaochen excitedly praises Fang Zhu and asks him to share his cultivation secrets. The young man humbles himself by attributing his power to normal meditation, just as Instructor Lu who approaches to offer congratulations. Impressed by the display, the teacher commends his student for opening his eyes to the true, untapped potential of the necromancy profession. The instructor places a hand on Fang Zhu's shoulder and vows to secure him a prestigious position on the school's seed list. Inside the principal's office, the headmaster reviews the latest awakening statistics, noting a successful 91% rate among the 10,000 new students. He identifies 85 rare professionals on the list, including notable students like Zhao Yuan, Bai Xiaochen, Gu Zhiqiu, and Yi Fan. The principal decides to integrate these elite individuals directly into the Academy's prestigious group of 100 critically cultivated seed candidates. His focused expression shifts as he reaches the final file, contemplating the unique and powerful case of the young necromancer, Fang Zhu. The administrator stares at Fang Zhu's profile, carefully evaluating his suitability for the elite program among the other top candidates. A sharp knock echoes through the principal's office, prompting the headmaster to grant entrance to the visitor while continuing his paperwork. Instructor Lu enters the room and announces an urgent matter, causing the principal to question his absence from combat class. The instructor frantically searches through a stack of student records until he triumphantly identifies the file belonging to the young necromancer. The instructor holds up the document and provides a fervent recommendation that the academy includes Fang Zhu on the exclusive seed list. The principal notes that necromancy potential is historically hard to realize, despite Instructor Lu's counterexample of another successful student in that profession. The official argues that Su Xinyan's success was nurtured by her legendary father, and asks what specific advantages Fang Zhu possesses. The principal acknowledges that Instructor Lu and Fang Zhu's parents were heroic comrades in arms who fought bravely for the Federation. He concludes that the seed list provides significant resources but also imposes a solemn responsibility upon those chosen for the program. Instructor Lu presents the official reports from both the meditation and combat classes to back his strong recommendation for Fang Zhu. After reviewing the data, the principal expresses shock that the student mastered meditation instantly and can already summon 20 skeletal warriors. The headmaster dismisses further argument, deciding to withhold his final judgment until the upcoming simulated battlefield assessment provides more concrete proof. As the instructor departs, the principal gazes at the student's file and ponders the mysterious potential this young necromancer might possess. Bai Xiaochen rushes to catch up with Fang Zhu and inquires about his incredible ability to summon numerous skeletons during their combat class. The young necromancer modestly downplays his feat, describing the massive summoning as an insignificant accomplishment that required very little effort. His companion playfully scolds him for this modesty, suggesting that his extreme humility actually borders on a subtle form of arrogance. Fang Zhu hides a secret smile, realizing he cannot yet disclose that his recent display represents only a tiny fraction of his strength. Yi Fan calls out to Fang Zhu, prompting the necromancer and his companion to stop and listen with curious expressions. Yi Fan boastfully proclaims his lifelong superiority and identifies Fang Zhu as the only opponent worthy of his time. Fang Zhu and Bai Xiaochen share a stunned look, clearly bewildered by the dramatic and exaggerated nature of this sudden proclamation. Fang Zhu dismisses the bizarre challenge and continues walking, leaving the frustrated challenger shouting after them in the distance. Yi Fan explains that he is looking for a sparring partner rather than a simple fight, causing Fang Zhu to question the request. The young demon hunter details his involvement with a scientific research group that requires a high-level partner for their ongoing studies. Although the proposal sounds professional, Fang Zhu remains skeptical and asks for a compelling reason to justify his cooperation with the project. Yifan offers 10 contribution points along with full room and board for 2 weeks of dedicated combat sparring services. Fang Zhu shakes hands with his new rival to formalize their business agreement, surprising his companion with such a swift and decisive choice. Following this handshake, the group begins walking toward the research facility while the eccentric challenger leads them with great and energetic enthusiasm. The young woman questions his motives for helping such an odd individual, but he justifies the choice by citing the significant reward. He contemplates the well-being of those back home, realizing these valuable resources will provide much-needed support for his struggling family. While walking, the girl questions the source of their benefactor's wealth, but her companion explains the points are actually a research advance. He clarifies that the association provided the funds, which the young man must eventually repay following the completion of their project. The duo observes their enthusiastic guide and jokingly speculates that his current extravagant spending might lead to decades of future debt. The group reaches a massive glass building where their host beckons them to enter the facility immediately to begin their work. Upon entering the research laboratory, Fang Zhu marvels at the advanced equipment provided to elite professionals in this high-tech facility. While surveying the room, the group encounters Chen Qingshan, who identifies himself as the leading authority within the Demon Hunter Research Association. The silver-level Gale Ranger adjusts his glasses and welcomes the new arrivals to his meticulously maintained and well-funded laboratory. The students acknowledge the professor's impressive status and offer a respectful greeting to signify the beginning of their partnership. Fang Zhu stands quietly near the laboratory's mechanical equipment while noting that Professor Chen possesses the distinct aura of a veteran frontline warrior. As they walk through the facility, the professor recounts a legendary battle where a senior demon hunter defeated a powerful lord of the abyss. The researcher explains that Yifan's rare profession prompted the military academy to establish this specialized group to nurture his combat potential. Professor Chen turns his attention toward Fang Zhu and reveals that he has thoroughly studied the young man's academic and professional records. Professor Chen offers to create a research association for Fang Zhu, but the student quickly declines the generous yet potentially costly opportunity. Wary of accumulating long-term debt, Fang Zhu decides to focus solely on the immediate combat research instead of administrative ties. The group moves to an observation deck overlooking a large arena where the professor prepares to begin the training session. While descending the stairs, the researcher guarantees their safety, allowing the young warriors to devote themselves entirely to the upcoming simulated battles. Inside the armory, the instructor allows the students to select 3 items while Fang Zhu analyzes Yifan's tactical advantage over skeletons. Following this assessment, the Necromancer decides to activate his skill deduction system to enhance his individual strength for the upcoming battle. He navigates the glowing interface to upgrade his primary summoning ability while balancing his defensive and offensive bone-based techniques. These strategic preparations ensure that he is fully equipped to face his rivals within the controlled environment of the research lab. Yifan hangs his leather jacket on a hook in the armory while preparing himself for the upcoming combat research session. Yifan boasts about mastering the bladed bow and confidently asserts that even 20 skeletons are no match for his refined skills. In response to the challenge, Fang Zhu chuckles enigmatically and suggests that the outcome of their duel remains uncertain for now. Fang Zhu dons a camouflage cloak while his status window glows with green energy, indicating his readiness for the imminent trial. Fang Zhu equips his apprentice gear and expresses a silent wish for his rival to provide a meaningful challenge in the upcoming bout. Yifan enters the arena with his massive crescent blade and acknowledges the impressive confidence radiating from his chosen sparring partner. The demon hunter assumes a serious expression as he prepares to unveil the hidden strength he gained from his specialized research team. Yifan lunges forward with supernatural speed, boasting that his laboratory enhancements will overwhelm the Necromancer before their duel even truly begins. Within the control room, researchers debate the outcome while noting that Yifan possesses the most terrifying combat instincts they have ever witnessed. Professor Chen questions Instructor Lu's presence, prompting the veteran teacher to remark that scientific researchers often reach conclusions far too prematurely. Following this, Lu explains his duty to oversee his students and confirms his firm belief that Fang Zhu can actually overcome his formidable opponent. The professor reviews the data, observing that while the Necromancer summons many skeletons, he remains a physically vulnerable mage at his core. Professor Chen informs Instructor Lu about Yifan's new displacement skill, warning that it might provide a significant surprise during the upcoming match. Yifan swings his massive crescent blade with incredible speed, forcing Fang Zhu to leap backward to avoid the lethal green energy strike. Realizing his opponent's overwhelming close combat strength, Fang Zhu prioritizes maintaining distance to devise a much safer and more effective tactical counter strategy. Yifan erupts with blue electrical energy and warns his rival that near distance will not guarantee safety from his next powerful assault. Yifan launches his glowing blue demon hunting arrow, a rapid-fire energy attack intended to pierce through Fang Zhu's defensive distance. Fang Zhu channels his dark energy, his eyes glowing as he prepares a specialized defense to counter the incoming projectile. Following this surge of power, a massive emerald ritual circle appears and summons a group of armored skeletons to the arena floor. The lethal blue arrow streaks across the room and shatters the first line of skeletons with immense, concentrated force. Yifan aims his bladed bow and fires energy arrows, intending to disrupt his opponent's summoning sequence and gain the upper hand. The projectiles strike the ritual circle, successfully interrupting Fang Zhu's concentration and stalling his magical progress during the intense duel. The Necromancer quickly maneuvers around the remaining energy bolts and notes how narrowly he avoided taking a direct hit. Immediately after, he places his hand upon the glowing floor to stabilize the ritual and summon his next wave of skeletal warriors. Fang Zhu successfully summons a new wave of skeletons with glowing green energy, signaling his resilience despite the recent interruption. Professor Chen watches the unfolding duel from the observation deck and expresses his profound admiration for the formidable skills of the younger generation. The professor offers to approve the students' seed list selection regardless of the match's outcome, while the instructor advises caution. Instructor Liu observes the boy's calm temperament and remains certain that the mysterious necromancer is still hiding a powerful trump card. Fang Zhu realizes he can no longer hold back and decides to unleash his full power against his increasingly formidable opponent. He raises his staff high to initiate a massive summoning ritual that calls forth an unprecedented army of skeletal warriors. The observing researchers express absolute shock as the young necromancer manages to manifest 30 skeletons in a single, powerful burst. Yifan finds himself completely surrounded and acknowledges that his rival's incredible strength makes him truly worthy of this intense confrontation. Observing from the shadows, Fang Zhu notes his rival's unnatural composure despite being surrounded by a relentless army of summoned skeletons. Yifan executes a powerful fierce strike, carving through the spectral ranks and shattering a nearby skeleton with a precise blow. While the broken remains collapse into the dust, the demon hunter skillfully maneuvers away from the encroaching horde of undead warriors. Yifan pauses to evaluate the battlefield, confident that he has maintained a sufficient distance to launch his next decisive maneuver. Yifan ignites his soul energy and executes a lightning-fast shadow charge, closing the gap toward his hidden opponent with terrifying speed. The professor observes the battle and concludes that a fragile mage can never survive such a brutal, close-quarters physical assault. Yifan appears directly in front of the necromancer, forcing a desperate confrontation that tests Fang Zhu's reflexes and tactical composure. The demon hunter swings his glowing crescent blade in a vengeance-fierce strike, aiming to end the sparring match in one blow. Fang Zhu smirks and observes that his opponent has fallen directly into a carefully prepared trap during their intense confrontation. Immediately following this, he manifests a glowing bone shield that successfully absorbs the full force of Yifan's lethal, green energy blade. The demon hunter stumbles backward in total confusion, questioning the nature of the unfamiliar defensive ability he just encountered. The observing faculty members express absolute shock at the realization that a novice student has independently comprehended a high-level skill. Fang Zhu acknowledges his opponent's strength and decides to employ strategic maneuvers to overcome the physical disadvantage during their duel. Following this declaration, a concealed bone flail swings down from the shadows, catching the demon hunter off guard with its unexpected trajectory. Professor Chen watches with growing astonishment as the young student demonstrates a level of tactical cunning rarely seen in novices. The combat instructor observes the underhanded maneuver and notes that the boy's combat methods are remarkably ruthless and unconventional. Fang Zhu uses his camouflage cloak to vanish among his skeletal warriors, effectively hiding his physical presence from his opponent. Yifan scans the arena in frustration because he is completely unable to distinguish the real necromancer from the lifeless bones. The skeletons swarm the demon hunter as he shouts for his hidden rival to step forward and face him directly. Yifan erupts with green soul energy and decides to activate a final, powerful move to escape this overwhelming tactical disadvantage. Yifan launches into the air, scattering skeletons with a powerful blue flare to gain a vantage point above the battlefield. Watching from the control room, Instructor Liu expresses shock that a novice could master such a high-level, high-burst disengagement technique. Mid-air, Yifan identifies Fang Zhu's real location amidst the undead horde and readies his final, most devastating aerial assault. Ultimately, the demon hunter executes a massive skyfall strike, descending with a flaming blade to crush his opponent in one hit. Yifan bellows with intense focus as he channels his flickering green soul energy for a final, catastrophic aerial maneuver. Following this surge, a massive emerald orb descends from the heavens toward the skeletal army, marking the start of the skyfall strike. The hooded skeleton gazes upward in frozen terror while the sky collapses into a wall of blinding, jade-colored light. The energy beam impacts the arena floor with a thunderous explosion, incinerating everything within the devastating green shockwave. As the smoke clears from the arena floor, the shattered remains of the skeletal army lie scattered across the platform. Following the explosion, Yifan acknowledges his rival's impressive might while asserting his refusal to lose the intense sparring match. The demon hunter gazes upon the wreckage and requests that medical staff be summoned immediately to prevent any serious casualties. The observing faculty members celebrate the incredible display of power while monitoring the safety of the students from the lab. Yifan notices that the crowd's reactions are unusual, realizing that their expressions lack the respect typically reserved for a victorious warrior. Following this realization, he investigates the hooded figure lying in the smoke and discovers that the defeated body is actually a common skeleton. The demon hunter shouts in confusion upon confirming that the target he just struck down was definitely not his elusive rival. Yifan reels in shock as he discovers a reverse disguise, realizing that Fang Zhu used complex illusions to remain completely unharmed. Skeletons suddenly swarm Yifan and grab his leg, completely disrupting his combat rhythm and leaving him vulnerable to a follow-up attack. Following this successful distraction, Fang Zhu appears directly behind his opponent and points his staff at his head to secure the victory. Realizing that the match has reached its inevitable conclusion, Yifan releases his massive crescent blade as a gesture of total surrender. The defeated warrior officially admits his loss, while the observers declare Fang Zhu the winner of this high-stakes combat demonstration. Yifan struggles with extreme exhaustion as the massive energy consumption from his previous skill leaves him completely drained of strength. A summoned skeleton reaches out to support the weakened warrior, preventing him from collapsing onto the hard arena floor. Surprised by this gesture, Yifan offers a quiet word of thanks while acknowledging his complete defeat at the hands of the Necromancer. Fang Zhu offers a confident thumbs up and explains that the help is merely a sign of sympathy for the loser. Yifan is carried away on a stretcher while shouting a vow to grow stronger from this defeat as Fang Zhu watches playfully. Professor Chen approaches and admits that the young necromancer's actual combat power has far surpassed all of his initial expectations. The professor predicts a bright future as a tactical master, though Fang Zhu playfully questions if the comment is truly a compliment. Teacher Liu inquires about the origin of the bone shield, and the student confirms that he comprehended the skill entirely on his own. Fang Zhu showcases his newly comprehended bone javelin and bone shield skills while explaining his independent progress to the impressed instructors. Upon hearing about this rapid self-improvement, the two mentors share a stunned silence, unable to immediately process the magnitude of the student's talent. Teacher Liu enthusiastically praises the boy's ability to provide surprises, delivering a firm pat on the back that catches Fang Zhu off guard. The instructors agree to utilize the lab's specialized equipment to conduct a formal evaluation of the Necromancer's unique and innovative combat abilities. Fang Zhu admits his spiritual energy is completely exhausted, but Teacher Liu dismisses the concern as a minor obstacle that is easily solved. The instructor presents a large crate of spirit recovery potions and encourages the young necromancer to consume them quickly. After chugging the liquid like water, the student feels an immediate surge of refreshing energy that fully replenishes his magical reserves. With his power restored, the group assembles before the mechanical golem to initiate the highly anticipated professional skill evaluation. Instructor Liu, who commands Fang Zhu to strike the training golem using his recently developed professional skills. Following this instruction, the necromancer manifests a glowing bone flying spear and readies himself for a powerful long-range offensive strike. The projectile impacts the machine with explosive force, causing the digital display to register an impressive attack score of 85. Professor Chen praises the outstanding result, emphasizing that achieving such high power with a self-created skill is truly remarkable for a novice. Teacher Liu who prepares the next phase of the evaluation, instructing Fang Zhu to demonstrate his defensive capabilities against the golem. Following this command, the mechanical machine lunges forward with a powerful strike, testing the young necromancer's reflexes and immediate response time. Fang Zhu conjures a sturdy bone shield that registers a defensive rating of 80, effectively neutralizing the golem's aggressive physical assault. The instructor expresses deep admiration, comparing the student's versatility to that of both a high-ranking storm mage and an earth knight. Teacher Liu enthusiastically praises Fang Zhu's natural talent, though the student finds the physical display of affection somewhat overwhelming. Professor Chen commends the student's excellent progress and suggests that he formally register his unique techniques within the Federation's skill repository. Because the repository allows individuals to trade contribution points for advanced knowledge, Fang Zhu carefully considers the long-term strategic benefits of this proposal. The professor offers immediate access to the local branch, and Fang Zhu gratefully accepts the opportunity to further expand his magical repertoire. Teacher Liu explains how contribution points can be exchanged for new skills after Fang Zhu uploads his own unique abilities to the system. The student pushes open the heavy wooden doors and steps inside the Federation's highly classified skill repository. Fang Zhu finds himself enveloped in absolute darkness and questions whether he has entered the correct wing of the massive library. The lights illuminate rows of ancient books and artifacts, revealing a grand storehouse of knowledge that exceeds his wildest expectations. Fang Zhu explores the vast Federation skill repository and notes that it contains every standard professional ability he has ever known. Following this exploration, he approaches a glowing pedestal to officially register his unique bone javelin and bone shield techniques into the database. A holographic notification confirms the successful entry and awards him 200 contribution points as an immediate developmental incentive. The necromancer marvels at the prospect of continuous passive profit earned from every future exchange of his self-created skills. Fang Zhu stands in the grand skill repository and reflects on the rare opportunity to acquire powerful knowledge while exploring the massive library. He reaches for a specialized volume titled Skeleton Meditation Technique to expand his understanding of necromantic energy manipulation and control. The system reveals that he has accumulated 100 soul power points, allowing him to initiate further advanced skill deductions immediately. Inside the repository, Fang Zhu accepts a system prompt to spend soul power on upgrading his current skeleton meditation method. An overwhelming aura of death surges through the hall as the system begins the violent process of enhancing his spiritual foundation. A spectral skeleton with burning red eyes manifests within his vision, signifying the successful evolution of his forbidden necromantic powers. Fang Zhu emerges from the repository with heightened abilities, prepared to dominate the upcoming simulated battlefield with his improved skills. In the desolate undead realm, a notification confirms the successful improvement of Fang Zhu's meditation method as a majestic skeleton king watches. Following this advancement, the ancient monarch reaches out and presents a mysterious, ornate book to the bewildered young necromancer. Fang Zhu accepts the gift and questions its purpose while examining the intricate symbols etched into the dark, leather cover. The tome erupts with spectral energy, surrounding the student in a whirlwind of glowing symbols as he absorbs forbidden arcane knowledge. Fang Zhu successfully upgrades to the Skeleton Monarch meditation method, which doubles his cultivation speed and strengthens his overall undead abilities. Despite this enhancement, he recalls his exhaustion against He Fan and acknowledges that powerful techniques require significantly larger spiritual reserves for sustained combat. The young necromancer decides to prioritize expanding his maximum spirit capacity to ensure he can wield his new skills without tiring. He explores the grand repository to exchange his accumulated contribution points for an advanced technique that bolsters his spiritual endurance. Fang Zhu selects the Presence of Mind skill, spending 20 contribution points to officially acquire the rare and valuable technique. Following this acquisition, he discovers that the skill passively accelerates his spiritual recovery while allowing him to actively restore energy during combat. To bypass the difficult learning curve, the necromancer utilizes his soul power to reach the entry stage of the technique instantly. Blue spectral symbols surround him as the system confirms his successful mastery, providing a permanent boost to his magical endurance. Fang Zhu notes a significant increase in his spirit power recovery speed while exploring the vast resources of the Federal Skill Repository. Following this advancement, he reflects on his previous duel and concludes that a massive skeletal army would easily overwhelm his rival. The student spends 60 contribution points to purchase multiple control spells, intending to use them for future skill upgrades. He investigates the available armor and acknowledges that his current rank restricts him to using basic, apprentice-level magical equipment. Fang Zhu spends 40 contribution points at the repository to finalize the purchase of essential apprentice-level magical equipment. After equipping the new hat, necklace, and rings, he notices significant improvements to his maximum spirit power and recovery speed. The system activates a special 4-piece set bonus, granting him a 10% increase in cultivation speed and proficiency. The young necromancer expresses satisfaction with these enhancements, knowing that his path toward greater power will now proceed even faster. Fang Zhu reviews his significantly improved status screen and commends the Federation's skill repository for the bounty of resources he discovered today. Following this success, the skeletal avatar materializes alongside its master, displaying a readiness that highlights the need for further tactical improvements. Fang Zhu realizes that providing the clone with specialized combat techniques is essential for maximizing its potential during future dangerous encounters. He spends 30 contribution points on essential skill manuals to ensure his undead servant attains mastery over various martial maneuvers. Fang Zhu exits the skill repository while reflecting on the high cost of techniques and the value of his current sparring arrangement. Following this, he returns to the arena and informs the waiting instructors that his recent study session yielded a significant harvest of abilities. A defiant Yifan interrupts the group to demand an immediate rematch, dismissing his earlier loss as a tactical misunderstanding. The necromancer prepares his potion and warns his rival that these newly enhanced skills will make the upcoming confrontation far more difficult. Yifan refuses to stay inferior and demands a rematch with full power, while the professor notes the extra cost in contribution points. Fang Zhu accepts the challenge and mockingly offers his opponent a recovery potion for use after his inevitable second defeat. This blatant disrespect fuels Yifan's fury, causing his soul energy to erupt in a vibrant and aggressive green aura. The enraged demon hunter bellows his rival's name and lunges forward to initiate the high-stakes rematch with everything he has left. Yifan immediately triggers his ultimate Skyfall strike, sending a lethal sphere of energy toward the remarkably calm necromancer. Observing the sudden escalation, Instructor Lu notes that a rapid, high-intensity assault is Yifan's most effective strategy for victory. In response to the incoming threat, Fang Zhu readies himself to utilize the advanced skills he recently acquired from the repository. The student activates a massive glowing array that summons his elite skeletal warriors to counter his opponent's ultimate move. Bai Xiaochen questions if Fang Zhu is repeating his previous technique, unaware that the scale of his current move is far greater. Instructor Lu, who senses an alarming shift in the atmosphere and shouts in denial as the magical energy reaches dangerous levels. Fang Zhu concentrates his spiritual power to manifest a quantity of undead soldiers that far exceeds the limits of his profession. An endless legion of skeletons erupts from a massive green vortex, leaving every witness in a state of absolute and terrified disbelief. As the smoke clears, Professor Chen and Instructor Lu remark on Yifan's remarkable ability to upgrade his skills during active combat. Following this, Fang Zhu approaches his panicked rival to acknowledge that the destructive power of his latest move has indeed improved significantly. The necromancer claims that his own professional abilities have also evolved, making his rival's recent progress seem utterly trivial by comparison. Fang Zhu walks past the towering mountain of skeletons, leaving Yifan defeated and paralyzed by the necromancer's true, overwhelming power. A group of skeletons suddenly ambushes Yifan, catching the exhausted warrior completely off guard as they prepare to deliver a final beating. The undead minions swarm their target, and Yifan desperately pleads with them to avoid striking his face during the chaotic assault. Following this one-sided struggle, Professor Chen declares the session finished while noting that the injured demon hunter will require an entire week to recover. The professor reiterates his offer regarding a research association, but Fang Zhu firmly declines the proposal before departing from the training facility. Fang Zhu reflects on the dangers of exposure, fearing that any investigation into his rapid progress might uncover his secret leveling system. Su Xinyan enters the skill repository and notices unusual activity at the registration pedestal where the young necromancer was recently standing. Su Xinyan expresses shock upon discovering that a necromancer has successfully registered a brand new ability within the Federation's official database. She spends her contribution points to acquire the manual, eager to study the innovative techniques developed by her mysterious fellow professional. Su Xinyan reviews the newly registered necromancy skills and feels impressed by the genius design behind these unique skeleton-based combat techniques. Following this realization, she hurries through the library with the intention of sharing her discovery with her influential father immediately. Teacher Liu enters the principal's office once more to persist in his advocacy for the necromancer's inclusion on the seed list. Both the instructor and Professor Chen jointly vouch for Fang Zhu's talent while requesting a formal reconsideration of his status. Principal Su expresses his doubts about the necromancer's long-term potential while casually sipping tea with Professor Chen in his office. He suddenly spits out his beverage in shock upon hearing that the young student has already independently developed 2 unique skills. Building on this revelation, Teacher Liu emphasizes the incredible intensity of those skills just as Su Xinyan enters the room to join them. She enthusiastically informs her father about the 2 mysterious new necromancer abilities that recently appeared within the Federation's official skill repository. Principal Su reacts with profound shock as his daughter confirms the discovery of revolutionary new necromancy techniques within the Federal Skill Repository. Following this news, Su Xinyan manifests the spectral bone weapons to demonstrate the incredible power and tactical utility of these mysterious abilities. Because the developer's talent is so rare, she asks her father if he can identify the genius responsible for creating such advanced skills. Su Xinyan expresses her deep admiration by announcing her bold intention to take this unknown necromancer as her personal martial master. Principal Su informs his daughter that she cannot take the developer as her master because he is currently just a student. While this discussion occurs, Fang Zhu attempts to focus on his meditation within the classroom to continue refining his immense professional power. The peace is shattered when Yifan suddenly bursts into the room and loudly demands another immediate combat confrontation with his rival. An exasperated Fang Zhu questions the frequency of these challenges and advises the persistent demon hunter to prioritize his own training. Yifan boasts about his growth and credits his recent improvement to the support provided by a visibly frustrated Bai Xiaochen. The young woman irritably corrects him by revealing that he begged for her assistance to avoid further public embarrassment. In light of this, she describes her newly mastered support ability, which facilitates deeper concentration and rapid energy restoration during rest. She explains how this technique accelerates spirit power recovery while simultaneously enhancing the overall efficiency of meditation and training sessions. Yifan details the limits of his new skill and his significant investment of contribution points to secure this training opportunity. Driven by this investment, the demon hunter demands a rematch while Fang Zhu privately questions his rival's growing financial debt. The necromancer ponders if the support skills training benefits might also extend to enhancing his skeletal clone's combat development. Fang Zhu ignores the challenge and negotiates to purchase the girl's remaining skills, leaving the frustrated Yifan feeling completely overlooked. Fang Zhu summons several skeletal warriors to occupy his persistent rival while he focuses on more important matters. Following this distraction, the necromancer turns to Bai Xiaochen and requests that she perform her specialized support technique. The young woman activates her lullaby ability, releasing a series of glowing musical notes that envelop the area. Fang Zhu sits cross-legged to absorb the energy, allowing the harmonic aura to enhance his overall spiritual recovery. Back in the undead realm, the skeletal avatar meditates under a crimson moon to solidify the recent gains made through intense professional cultivation. The necromancer notes that the external support skill effectively bolsters his clone, granting it enhanced stability and spiritual resonance within this plane. The system displays the avatar's advancement to the upper apprentice rank, highlighting a formidable list of mastered combat techniques and improved physical attributes. The warrior prepares for a fresh confrontation, intending to use a nearby wandering skeleton to evaluate the true effectiveness of its upgraded skills. An enemy skeleton with a spiked mace lunges forward to attack the protagonist within the dark and desolate undead realm. The protagonist's skeletal clone tightens its grip on the glowing bone spear and readies itself for the incoming impact. The warrior successfully executes a parry maneuver to deflect the heavy blow and significantly reduce any potential incoming physical damage. The necromancer demonstrates his superior weapon mastery as his clone's blue eyes flare with the determination to finish the fight. The protagonist's skeletal clone initiates a transformation, surging with intense necrotic energy as it engages a green-eyed enemy in brutal combat. Following this activation, the warrior's blue eyes flare with power, while he calculates the precise timing required to unleash a devastating counter-strike. He executes a wide, sweeping release of energy that disrupts the opponent's guard and creates a momentary opening for a finishing blow. The clone performs a lethal reverse thrust, driving his bone spear through the enemy's skull to secure another decisive victory in battle. The skeletal clone absorbs essence while praising the lullaby skill for providing a significant 10% boost to all combat rewards. Following this enhancement, the armored warrior sprints across the desolate plains toward a group of hulking, monstrous undead enemies. The clone executes a high-speed sliding maneuver that erupts with explosive force, scattering the terrain while engaging multiple foes. The warrior carves through the monsters with glowing blades, accumulating massive amounts of power while dominating the dark battlefield. The Necromancer surveys a vast legion of undead soldiers and prepares to engage them in a massive battle. He unleashes a terrifying roar, challenging the encroaching horde to attack him all at once with their full might. This battle cry activates a specialized professional skill, temporarily bolstering his core attributes to ensure his survival against the swarm. A series of powerful shockwaves erupt from the warrior, crushing the ranks of skeletons as they attempt to overwhelm him. The skeletal clone decimates the enemy legion, gaining significant soul power and physical strength with every bone-shattering strike he delivers. Following this victory, the warrior unleashes a powerful roar, while vowing to continue his relentless path toward achieving ultimate combat strength. He notices a peculiar formation of ancient bones hovering in the distance, prompting him to stop and investigate the anomaly. The Necromancer reacts with total shock as he realizes the mysterious artifact holds a power far beyond his initial expectations. A terrifying winged entity known as the Bone Angel suddenly materializes, looming over the battlefield with a massive blade and spectral halo. Shocked by this unexpected encounter, the Necromancer realizes he is facing a high-level boss creature within the supposedly safe beginner zone. The skeletal celestial ascends high into the air before preparing a devastating downward strike to crush the intruder below. The monster slams its colossal sword into the ground, creating a thunderous explosion that shatters the earth and tests the clone's durability. Fang Zhu realizes that a single direct hit from the giant's blade would be fatal, prompting him to rethink his survival strategy. Deciding that a static defense is futile, the warrior sprints up the length of the massive sword to launch a daring counter-offensive. As he ascends toward his towering foe, the skeletal clone unleashes a deafening battle cry to bolster his courage and fighting spirit. The Necromancer leaps into the air and readies a glowing bone spear to strike the gargantuan angel's vulnerable skull. The skeletal clone initiates a shield-breaking stance and delivers a series of brutal strikes against the towering, winged bone angel boss. Following these opening hits, the warrior transitions into an arm-swinging stance to unleash a rapid-fire sequence of high-intensity energy impacts. The massive celestial monster roars in pain as the relentless barrage of blue spectral light continuously hammers its physical frame. The bewildered angel watches the agile skeletal clone leap into the air, wondering what desperate final maneuver the small warrior will execute. The bone angel delivers a sudden and decisive downward strike that shatters the rocky earth beneath the skeletal clone's feet. Following this massive impact, the winged titan raises its enormous blade once more to deliver a crushing blow to the tiny warrior. The skeletal clone quickly manifests his bone shield to parry the incoming sword, sending a cascade of brilliant sparks through the air. The Necromancer takes advantage of the opening to launch a high-speed aerial counterattack against the massive creature's exposed head. A massive pillar of blue energy crashes into the jagged terrain, causing a violent explosion that shakes the entire undead realm. Following the blast, the skeletal clone staggers and coughs, clearly reeling from the immense pressure of the boss's devastating attack. While observing the Bone Angel, the warrior notes his strategic success in crippling the monster's limb to survive the previous strike. The Necromancer's blue eyes flare with renewed resolve as he prepares to unveil his ultimate counter move to finish the battle. Fang Zhu observes that the Bone Angel's primary weakness has finally been exposed through its core's flickering blue soul flame. Following this discovery, the celestial monster assumes a strange stance, prompting the Necromancer to question the creature's next unpredictable and dangerous maneuver. The angel begins spinning with incredible velocity, generating a massive golden whirlwind that tears across the desolate landscape of the realm. The skeletal warrior braces for impact while realizing that this overwhelming vortex represents a grave threat to his survival. The Bone Angel uses centrifugal force to compensate for its crippled arm, shattering the surrounding mountains with its violent spinning. The Necromancer observes that targeting the monster's weaknesses becomes impossible while the creature maintains its blindingly fast rotation. While dodging the debris, the warrior notes the monster's intense desire to fight as the golden whirlwind begins locking onto his position. The skeletal clone reaches the edge of a deep canyon and realizes he has finally reached a precarious dead end. The skeletal clone observes the rapidly spinning bone angel, noting the extreme and dangerous speed of its continuous rotation. Following this observation, the warrior decides to gamble everything on a single, well-timed counterattack to survive the deadly encounter. As the lethal sword winds scrape against his armor, he concentrates intensely to find a flaw in the monster's defense. The necromancer identifies a critical opening within the golden vortex and prepares to launch his final, decisive strike. The skeletal clone executes a powerful charge, driving his blue glowing bone spear forward with immense necrotic energy and speed. The massive bone angel bellows in agony as the spear pierces its chest, shattering its ancient rib cage. While maintaining his assault, the warrior mockingly suggests that the giant monster suffers from brittle bones and needs more calcium. The successful strike reveals the shimmering blue soulfire core, exposing the celestial beast's absolute and final vulnerability. Fang Zhu seizes the perfect opening and commands his skeletal clone to hurl a glowing blue bone javelin directly at the exposed boss. The bone angel recoils in visible surprise as the lethal projectile streaks through the air with pinpoint accuracy and immense speed. The magical spear impacts the creature's massive wing with an explosive burst of sparks, successfully piercing through its ancient and hardened defenses. The necromancer observes the successful strike from a distance and silently confirms that his tactical intuition regarding the enemy's weakness was correct. While observing the bone angel's wings, Fang Zhu realizes they serve a functional purpose, but prepares to counter with his own unique system. The necromancer initiates a fusion deduction by combining his web spell with skeletal armament to create a specialized binding technique. Following this process, the system successfully deduces bone shackles, an apprentice-level ability that condenses undead mana to restrict an enemy's movement. Fang Zhu marvels at how skill deduction fuses various professional characteristics into lethal undead abilities that perfectly suit his combat needs. Fang Zhu mocks the bone angel for its reliance on flight and gathers blue lightning to prepare his next offensive maneuver. The newly mastered bone shackles erupt from the ground, winding around the titan's neck to anchor it to the earth. While the monster struggles, the necromancer grips the spectral chains and channels a surge of mana to tighten his inescapable hold. Fang Zhu violently yanks the shackles downward, slamming the winged beast into the dirt and reclaiming dominance over the battlefield. Fang Zhu tightens the bone shackles around the fallen angel and coldly warns the creature against making any further attempts to resist. As the tip of his spear ignites with concentrated blue energy, he notes that its resistance only serves to fuel his thrill. The necromancer stands tall with glowing horns and embraces his dark instincts, visibly enjoying the intensity of this high-stakes combat encounter. The bone angel's massive yellow eye widens in absolute terror as it recognizes the crushing and inescapable power of its opponent. Fang Zhu defeats the bone angel and collects its shimmering blue soul fire as a trophy of his hard-won victory. He absorbs the powerful essence into his core, resulting in an immediate and massive gain of 100 soul power points. While observing his unchanging physical form, the necromancer questions why his skeletal body has not yet grown despite the massive energy surge. The system informs him that his attributes have peaked, allowing him to utilize his accumulated points to initiate a full race evolution. Fang Zhu recognizes that his current skeletal form has reached its absolute racial limit, preventing any further attribute gains in this stage. Following this realization, he gazes toward the crimson horizon and wonders about the mysteries and higher tiers of power hidden above. He accesses the interface and confirms the evolution to a black iron rank skeleton warrior by consuming his accumulated soul power. A vortex of dark energy envelops his frame as the system initiates a profound physical transformation into a superior undead. Enveloped in dark blue spectral energy, Fang Zhu initiates his official path of evolution to transcend his current physical limitations. Following this surge, the warrior endures intense physical strain while embracing the philosophy that constant slaughter drives his professional progression. The system confirms a successful evolution into a bone warrior, granting the clone a much more imposing and armored physique. His core attributes undergo an incredible leap, drastically increasing his overall power to solidify his status as a top-tier undead. Fang Zhu discovers his skeletal clone successfully evolved and unlocked the rare bone monarch race talent, providing unexpected additional capabilities. Following this breakthrough, he reviews the specific details of the talent, which grants increased damage against skeletons while providing damage reduction. The Necromancer recognizes that this enhancement will allow him to grind monsters much faster within the dangerous Undead realm. The newly evolved warrior senses a common skeleton attempting a stealthy ambush and prepares to test its superior power. The low-level skeleton strikes the evolved bone warrior, but its crude wooden club shatters harmlessly against the superior Undead's reinforced skull. Fang Zhu observes the broken weapon and concludes that his new damage reduction talent makes low-tier enemies entirely negligible in combat. A system notification appears to confirm the race evolution and prompts the Necromancer to upgrade his essential skeletal armament talent immediately. The nearby skeleton remains in a meditative state while vibrant blue energy swirls around its frame during the intense spiritual resonance. The system announces the completion of the upgrade and unlocks the bone armor, providing a significant boost to the warrior's defensive capabilities. The durable plates fuse seamlessly with the skeletal frame, granting Fang Zhu a sense of overwhelming physical power and enhanced resilience. Following this transformation, the warrior's blue eyes glow with intensity as he adjusts to the incredible weight and strength of his new equipment. The Necromancer prepares to test his newfound abilities by targeting a defenseless skeleton, ignoring its frantic and incoherent sounds of alarm. Fang Zhu lunges forward, mockingly acknowledging the incoherent sounds of the weak skeleton before initiating a devastating physical strike. Following this movement, the low-level skeleton clutches its skull in absolute terror as it realizes the overwhelming power of its opponent. The creature stammers in confusion while the evolved warrior prepares to unleash a final, earth-shattering blow upon the desolate terrain. A massive explosion erupts as the warrior smashes his target into the dirt, sending bone fragments flying in every direction. The armored skeletal clone stands victoriously, mockingly apologizing for the ease of the recent battle, while dismissing his opponent's meager strength. Following this display of power, the warrior observes the massive crater created by his reinforced blows and notes his significantly increased damage output. He reviews his meager attribute gains and realizes that defeating low-level enemies no longer provides enough essence for meaningful professional growth. The Necromancer determines that he must venture into the deeper, more dangerous regions of the realm to encounter far stronger adversaries. Fang Zhu's armored skeletal clone suddenly senses a depletion of energy as the intense battle against the boss finally concludes. Following this, the Necromancer realizes his prolonged struggle in the spectral realm consumed far more time and spiritual power than originally intended. The student gasps for air back in the classroom while physical injuries from the undead world manifest as fresh blood. Bai Xiaochen rushes to support his collapsing frame and questions how he sustained such severe injuries during a simple meditation session. Fang Zhu reflects on the wounds sustained during his grueling boss encounter and resolves to exercise greater caution during future spiritual ventures. He reassures his concerned classmate that he is fine while attributing his visible physical trauma to an incident during meditation. The nearby rival calls out his name, forcing the Necromancer to turn his attention away from his companion and toward the commotion. An exhausted Yifan gasps for breath amidst the shattered remains of the summons and acknowledges the overwhelming strength of the skeletons. Yifan ignites his spiritual energy and declares that he is finally ready to overcome his previous physical and mental limitations. Following this transformation, he lunges toward his rival and demands an honorable physical confrontation to settle their ongoing and heated dispute. Fang Zhu remains perfectly calm and instantly activates his powerful bone shackles to intercept the incoming airborne attacker. The spectral chains bind the demon hunter mid-air, leaving him completely immobilized and helpless against the Necromancer's superior technique. Yifan complains about the unfairness of the new skill, while Fang Zhu advises him to save up points for another future rematch. Fang Zhu walks away from the classroom as students speculate if he developed the mysterious binding technique entirely on his own. Bai Xiaochen watches him depart and questions the true depth of his power, realizing she may have severely underestimated his abilities. The young Necromancer descends the school steps in solitary silence, leaving his stunned peers behind to ponder his growing, hidden potential. Observing the date on his phone, Fang Zhu realizes it is already Friday and decides to visit his home after a long absence. He arrives at the Resource Exchange Department to convert some of his hard-earned contribution points into standard Longxia currency. As he approaches the counter, a staff member offers assistance while he presents his card to initiate the financial transaction. The student requests an exchange of 10 contribution points for 100,000 credits to support his family's pressing needs. At the exchange office, the clerk questions Fang Zhu's decision to trade rare points for cash, but he remains firm about his immediate need. Following this conversation, the staff member hands over a heavy briefcase filled with currency and offers assistance for any future financial requirements. While clutching the briefcase, Fang Zhu reflects on how these newly acquired resources will significantly improve the lives of the orphans he supports. He arrives at the Undead orphanage and watches the children playing safely before entering to deliver the life-changing gift to the facility. Sister Ruru watches the energetic orphans play and wonders how many of them will eventually awaken to become powerful professionals. Following this observation, she turns to see Fang Zhu approaching, who offers a warm greeting to signify his return home. The young necromancer carries a heavy briefcase and a large bag filled with supplies to support the orphanage's growing needs. The excited children swarm around him to ask for delicious treats, while Fang Zhu reassures them that he brought plenty for everyone. Sister Ruru inquires about the results of the recent awakening ceremony, while Fang Zhu prepares to share his newfound professional identity. He reveals his status as a necromancer, and Ruru offers her support by emphasizing that a successful awakening is a great achievement. While one child expresses fear at the mention of the undead, other excited orphans declare that summoning skeletons is actually quite cool. To delight them, Fang Zhu conjures two adorable, weakened versions of his skeletal minions, proving that his dark powers can also bring joy. The orphans happily play with the miniature skeletons while Fang Zhu hands the briefcase filled with currency over to Sister Ruru. Ruru accepts the generous donation for the orphanage's director just as an unexpected and intimidating figure approaches the peaceful group. This sudden arrival causes Fang Zhu to turn with a serious expression toward the man who mockingly questions if he is interrupting. The tall stranger wearing a heavy gold chain looms over them, accompanied by several dark shadows that suggest imminent trouble.